Hey guys, welcome back to yet another video, and today we will be listing down the top 70 best PS5 games in the last 5 years. So without further ado, as usual, let's jump right into it. Number 70. Sackboy: A Big Adventure. Sackboy is the protagonist attached to the puzzle platformer series The Little Big Planet. Sackboy: A Big Adventure is one of the titles accompanying the launch of the PS5 console. This game is pure adventure, like the Crash Bandicoot series. You'll go on an adventure through the levels provided by the developer, powered by the Unreal Engine whose capabilities have been proven in various big games. Sumo Digital presents a visual presentation that is beautiful beyond my imagination. Number 69. Immortals: Fenix Rising. Immortals: Fenix Rising is a new IP from Ubisoft that carries the action-adventure genre with a Greek mythology theme. In this game, you will play as Fenix, a demigod who is destined to save the gods and defeat the giant Titan. This game has fighting mechanics that are easy to learn but difficult to master. The scenery in this game is literally beautiful. You will get a beautiful land of the gods with a variety of terrain that you can fully explore and have an adventure on. Number 68. Marvel's Midnight Suns. 2K Games and Firaxis Games finally got the license to work on this latest Marvel game with a slightly different feel. Marvel's Midnight Suns presents quite famous superhero names that are sure to be very familiar to your ears. The battle in this game uses a turn-based strategy system, where you will bring a team of 3 superheroes of your choice. The audio presentation of this game really feels luxurious and extraordinary. Number 67. Dead Island 2. Dead Island 2 takes place around 10 years after the events that occurred in the prequel. You are part of a massive evacuation leaving California when a zombie outbreak hits. Dead Island 2 is a first-person RPG game that provides an exciting and action-packed gaming experience in eradicating bloody zombies. Dead Island 2 presents the experience of eradicating zombies also with various types of weapons. Number 66. The Pathless. The Pathless tells the mythical adventure of a hunter on a mysterious island to eliminate the curse of darkness that is engulfing the world. In this game, you will play as the hunter, who is finding out how to remove the curse from the island he lives on. Unlike adventure games in general, this game presents more puzzles than battles against enemies. This game has a visual presentation that is rich in color, and the use of solid basic colors makes this game seem simple while also being elegant. Number 65. Dragon's Dogma 2. Dragon's Dogma 2 is an ambitious project by Hideaki Itsuno for a long time and will finally be realized in 2024. The story setting in Dragon's Dogma 2 is like a remake with a new background but with the same theme. Dragon's Dogma 2 still presents the hack-and-slash combat standard, which has been improved from the first game, making RE Engine, which has been proven to provide amazing visuals inside the game as well. Number 64. Crash Bandicoot 4. It's About Time. The success of making remake versions of 3 adventure games and 1 racing game has convinced Activision to continue the Crash Bandicoot series. Toys for Bob adopts the first Crash Bandicoot style in terms of level selection. The levels will be divided into several interconnected dimensions. For the adventure itself, the developer pays tribute to the original developer, which is Naughty Dog, by bringing back the classic formula from the first 3 games. Number 63. Like a Dragon, Isen. Long before the popularity of Sekiro or Ghost of Tsushima, there was a game title that had already presented the Edo-era samurai theme very nicely, namely Like a Dragon, Isen. Based on the true story of a Japanese historical figure, Lad Isen will give you a history lesson in an exciting and fun way. As a spin-off, the gameplay of this game feels similar to that of the Yakuza games, especially Yakuza 5 and 6. The fighting in this game feels quite intense thanks to the heat feature with the intensity of the gore, which is quite blood-soaked. Number 62. Lost Judgment. Lost Judgment is the second series in the Judgment franchise, again starring the famous Japanese actor Takuya Kimura. RGG Studio has confirmed that the Lost Judgment battle system will not be changed to a turn-based RPG like Yakuza Like a Dragon. He still uses the Yakuza and Kiryu beat-em-up style, so you can miss him. Visually though, Lost Judgment has improved from the previous series, because Lost Judgment has incredible great sound design and the sounds presented during the games are cool as well, like during normal battles or against bosses. Number 61. Stellar Blade. Sony Interactive Entertainment released their exclusive game Stellar Blade on PlayStation 5 or PS5. This action-adventure game with a female protagonist caught the attention of many gamers. The main strength of this game is the visuals. The graphics made by the studio as well from South Korea are truly top-notch. The gameplay of Stellar Blade is indeed interesting. This action game adopts Soul-like, a term that refers to a combat system that requires players to be strategic. Number 60. Helldivers 2. Changing the gameplay from a top-down shooter to a third-person shooter makes playing Helldivers 2 even more exciting and tense. Your character has a very reactive movements, animations, for example when you are running fast across the battlefield, etc. The weapons you use also have different types and unique firing sounds, making you want to try the various weapons available inside the game. Helldivers 2 always provides a different and unpredictable game experience, and that is what makes this game very exciting and always feels new in each mission. Number 59. Assassin's Creed Mirage. Through its newest series entitled Mirage, Assassin's Creed throws away all the RPG elements that were implemented in Origins, Odyssey, and Valhalla. Mirage brings significant changes in gameplay mechanics that separate it from previous Assassin's Creed games. One of the essential elements that is back in the spotlight is the stealth element, which has been missing for a long time. Here, you are challenged to take advantage of the surrounding environment by designing a strategy so you can eliminate the enemy without being tracked by the enemy itself. Number 58. Stray. The plot and story style conveyed by the developers in this game are truly unique and classy. Here, you will play the character of a nameless cat who happens to be lost in the underworld. One thing that the author also gives a thumbs up to is how the developer executes all the game mechanisms to be more attractive and adaptive. Stray is also present on the PS5 console, which of course promises very good visuals. Apart from being very adaptive, there are many puzzles or missions that are quite easy to solve even though various real obstacles remain. Number 57. Seafu. Seafu is a beat-em-up based action game that uses a third-person perspective as its main foundation. This game presents action that is firm, straightforward, and not long-winded. Seafu uses a stage system like classic beat-em-up games, where each level is inhabited by various enemies and ends with a boss fight, which is one of the traitor gangs. The boss fight in this game can be said to be very difficult, so it requires extra tactics and patience from the player. Number 56. A Plague Tale Requiem. A Plague Tale Requiem has a continuation plot from the story experienced by Amicia de Rune and Hugo de Rune. You can choose which fighting method you will use, and in my opinion, it is clear that the stealth method will be excellent here. But the developer of this game also injected brutal elements. If you like it straight up, then this is it. Apart from that, don't forget about the sound and audio quality, which is equally amazing as well. Number 55. Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown. For veteran gamers, the title Prince of Persia certainly has its own memories, similar to The Legend of Zelda, where Princess Zelda is not the protagonist you play as. Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown returned to its old identity as a 2D action-adventure platformer game, but now, it is spiced up with Metroidvania elements to make it more refreshing and challenging. What makes the fighting action dynamic is that the combos launched by Sargon are quite varied. Number 54. Nioh 2. In 2021, Sony released Nioh 2 Remastered, a technically improved PS5 version of Nioh 2 for PS5 and PC. PS5 players also have a console-specific PS5 standard mode that is reportedly calibrated for the console. Nioh 2 built on the wonderfully diverse range of options for developing a personal fighting style. You can also learn yokai abilities via equipable soul cores that allow you to momentarily transform into the enemies you've killed to use one of their attacks. Number 53. Kenna, Bridge of Spirits. This game tells the story of Kenna, a young spirit guide who is traveling to an abandoned village in search of a sacred mountain temple. Kenna Bridge of Spirits is an action-adventure game with a third-person perspective as the point of view. The fighting in this game is the most challenging part, in my opinion. You have to focus when fighting the boss because otherwise you'll feel emotional yourself. In terms of graphics though, I think this game is good. The environmental details are very clear and the scenery is such a thing to look at. Number 52. Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Overhauling all aspects of the Origins series and perfecting it in the Odyssey series, now Assassin's Creed greets its fan in the series, namely Valhalla. Valhalla will take you to follow the story of Eivor, a child of the Vikings. Valhalla's combat system is an improvement on what they have already implemented in Origins and Odyssey. Even though at first glance the battle system looks simple, it actually contains quite deep complexities if you learn more about it. Number 51. Nier Replicant. From the story timeline, Nier Replicant is positioned as a prequel to what we know from Nier Automata. In this game, you don't fight robots like in Automata, but rather a black shadow-like monster called Shades. The protagonist is equipped with a sword to launch physical attacks which are divided into two types, light attacks and heavy attacks. The most noticeable change in this version is of course the visual presentation, which feels modern. Number 50. Deathloop. You will play the role of a man named Colt, who is trapped in a time loop on an island, where when the day ends, time will turn back to repeat the day. When playing this game, you will mostly spend it sneaking around, slowly looking for ways to finish up the visionaries. The gameplay of this game is a bit complicated, but once you get used to it, you will definitely be addicted to playing it, like me. Number 49. Little Nightmares 2. Little Nightmares 2 tells the story of a boy named Mono. The game begins when the protagonist, Mono, wakes up in the middle of a dark wilderness. Still the same as its predecessor, this game does not have a health bar, level, upgrade, or anything like that. Developers can be said to be great if they can optimize the capabilities of the engine they use well and minimize technical bugs. Number 48. Guilty Gear Strive. Appearing as a strong anime-style fighting game, almost all parts of the presentation presented by Strive end up looking cool. Almost all aspects of this presentation will pamper your eyes, while ensuring that it doesn't disturb the rhythm of the battle and the sequence of information you need. Smooth animation of each attack, particle effects that appear, a slight slow motion effect when encountering, is for dramatic effect and also strategy in fighting. Number 47. Gran Turismo 7. GT7 is the culmination of the Gran Turismo series itself in providing a true racing simulation experience. More than 400 types of cars and 90 racing tracks from various parts of the world are available for you to play at its initial launch. Thanks to haptic feedback technology and adaptive triggers, you can feel the brake grip or vibrations that occur when the tire friction and the track grid, and the vibrations provided by DualSense makes it feel as if you're holding the steering wheel of a car. Number 46. Avatar Frontiers of the Pandora. While it certainly is pretty and it does its best to hit those Avatar beats, Frontiers of Pandora actually won us over with one of the most enchanting open worlds available on PS5. The real value of the game lies in your free roaming experience. For one, it's easily one of the best looking games on PS5. Bow combat is still incredibly fun, and kicking a tiny human and watching them fly never gets old. Number 45. Tales of Arise. This game is powered by Unreal Engine and can be played on PS5. Even though it uses a similar formula, this game has a variety of very interesting game features, starting from exploration and combat. Bandai Namco has finally returned to using the classic encounter system in Berseria. Bandai Namco also finally used the Unreal Engine as the main foundation that supports the Tales game. The results are very extraordinary. Number 44. Doom Eternal. If you've played Doom before, you'll be familiar with the gameplay mechanics. It's a first-person shooter where you slay demons in an attempt to rid the world of demonic corruption in one of the most powerful fantasy games ever. Playing Doom Eternal is like executing a delicate, balanced, fully coordinated dance. Like many PS5 upgrades to date, Doom Eternal's appearance on PlayStation 5 serves more to give a deep shine to the underlying game. Number 43. Yakuza Like a Dragon. Entering its 7th series, Sega is trying to experiment while risking the big name of Yakuza itself. Like a Dragon can be said to be a new chapter for Sega and the Yakuza franchise, because after 15 years, they have finally overhauled the gameplay formula along with the world and characters, which have been very attached to gamers. Visually, the PS5 version is not a drastic improvement over the PS4 version. He only added a few small details to satisfy the viewers. Number 42. Disco Elysium, The Final Cut. Like all good detective stories, what appears simple at first becomes so much more than that in Disco Elysium. And here it gets so much weirder too. Role-playing games are not always about young knights going on adventures to save the world from the evil ambitions of an antagonist. The visual presentation itself looks like an oil painting. The addition of character thumbnails when they talk also makes the appearance even sweeter. Number 41. Hogwarts Legacy. Hogwarts Legacy. You'll play as a 5th-year student who is just about to start classes at the famous Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry. Focusing on games with the open-world RPG genre, Hogwarts Legacy presents adventure and action in the wizarding world with a variety of very interesting features. You'll use a variety of magic and items to face various types of enemies. Hogwarts Legacy displays excellent visual quality. Environments inside and outside Hogwarts Castle are displayed colorfully and have their own characteristics. Number 40. Life is Strange, True Colors. True Colors is the 4th game in the Life is Strange series. Unlike the previous 2 main series, True Colors was developed by developer Deck 9, who previously worked on Before the Storm. With full support from Square Enix, Deck 9 Games proves that they can continue the legacy of Donnon Entertainment. Number 39. Mortal Kombat 1. NetherRealm Studios remains adamant about using Mortal Kombat 1 as the official name of the 12th entry in its main fighting game. What I feel most here is the increase in character mobility to become more flexible and fast. Animation transitions between character movements, combos, and special attacks now feel more fluid and no longer stiff. NetherRealm Studios succeeded in adapting the music and sound effects to the moments that occur in the game and story. Number 38. Dead Space. Electronic Arts decided to make a remake version, releasing the first remake version of Dead Space using its newest engine, Frostbite. Dead Space had a fairly unique game appearance when it was released and is maintained in this remake version. The animation when shooting and reloading each weapon also looks different from one another, making each weapon feel unique. Number 37. Star Wars Jedi Survivor. Cal Kestis' latest adventure will continue in a sequel entitled Star Wars Jedi Survivor. With many new features and mechanics, this game is truly a very interesting sequel. Different from the games released by PlayStation Studios in recent years, which feel like expansions of the first series because of the lack of additional features. If you often watch cinema films and the Star Wars series, you will definitely be very familiar with the distinctive sound effects when playing this game. Number 36. Hitman III. Hitman 3 continues the story of Agent 47, as he and his longtime handler Diana Burnwood pursue the leaders of Providence, a shadowy organization controlling world affairs. Available on the PS5, this game takes full advantage of the next-gen hardware to deliver an unparalleled stealth action experience. The world's most skilled assassin and embark on a globe-trotting adventure to eliminate high-profile targets with precision and creativity. Number 35, Ratchet and Clank, Rift Apart. Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart is still a linear action platformer game where you'll adventure from one planet to another. To add variety to the gameplay, the developer injected a new mechanism called Phantom Dash. Insomniac Games certainly won't waste the opportunity to maximize the haptic feedback and adaptive triggers features. Several developers also dared to praise Insomniac Games' achievements in developing the visuals of this game. Number 34, Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy. This game was made by Eidos Montreal. Fortunately, this game is not an origin story. The visuals in this game are really pleasing to your eyes. In the PS5 version of the environment, the character looks all detailed and clear. The combat system is more complex through the existence of Star-Lord's weapon, which is actually an element gun, but it must be admitted of all the aspects offered by Guardians of the Galaxy, the fighting side can be said to be the most standard or even below standard element. Number 33, Death Stranding Director's Cut. Death Stranding Director's Cut is a surefire way to play one of the strangest games of recent years. Death Stranding Director's Cut still has Sam Porter Bridges walking across a compact version of the United States, precariously stacking packages on his back. But this time, Sam had more equipment at the start of his cross-country journey. You can quickly get a weapon that stuns enemies with lightning. The re-released Death Stranding offers quite a long range for you to test your loadout. Number 32, Resident Evil Village. Resident Evil Village story begins with Ethan and Mia Winters living their new life in Europe. The map of the Resident Evil Village is actually not only large, but also has character, and the enemies in each territory also have their own characteristics. What makes me feel at home playing this game is the graphics, which use RE Engine. It looks amazing in this game. Number 31, Diablo IV. After the destruction of the Black Soul Stone, the defeat of Prime Evil, and the fall of Malthael, the Angel of Death, many lives have been lost, and the inhabitants of Sanctuary find themselves struggling through the darkest of ages. Technically, Diablo IV does not bring any extraordinary new innovations or breakthroughs that will set new standards in the action RPG genre in the next few years. The Diablo game series has always been designed with the principle of replayability in mind, and that is often achieved through the amount of endgame content that is available for players. Number 30, Spider-Man Miles Morales. Spider-Man Miles Morales is similar to Naughty Dog's Uncharted The Lost Legacy series, where the world setting and game mechanics are almost the same. Because Miles Morales has different powers from Peter Parker, his fighting style is also different. Apart from having extraordinary physical strength, Miles also has several superpowers. When compared to Marvel's Spider-Man 2018, the graphic quality of Spider-Man Miles Morales actually feels better. Number 29, Monster Hunter Rise. The Monster Hunter Rise game is a game with unique, fresh, and challenging game mechanics from Capcom. Monster Hunter Rise will clearly complement your fun in carrying out tasks related to monsters. Capcom is considered brave here. Apart from that, this game also improvised in changing the narrative to a slightly darker one. But in this game, the graphics can still be said to be ordinary. Number 28, HiFi Rush. PS5 players are definitely very happy with the arrival of this game, a punch-based action game aka Melee. However, instead of hitting blindly hack and slash style, players are required to follow the rhythm of the music. The gameplay is very exciting because when you fight enemies, you will be accompanied by rhythmic music that makes you addicted. The story of this game is also not boring because the story is very exciting and challenging in its own. Number 27, It Takes Two. It Takes Two is a cooperative multiplayer game from Hazelight Studios. This game can only be played in cooperative multiplayer format. In this game as well, you will be trained to work together with your friends, such as fighting bosses and solving puzzles together. The combination of Cody and May is the key to success in this game. There's no doubt about the graphics of this game, especially if you play it on PS5. And number 26, Street Fighter VI. The story in Street Fighter VI takes place after the events of Street Fighter III. So chronologically, the story in this game is at the end of all the Street Fighter series. A new single-player mode is introduced in this game. This mode adopts the semi-open world RPG concept. There are several gameplay changes, especially in terms of parameters and mechanics. And there are also several types of drive actions that you can use in battle. Number 25. Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade. Square Enix provided solace for fans by re-releasing Final Fantasy VII Remake with the addition of the Intergrade title behind it, which is only available exclusively for PS5. Yuffie Kisaragi, as a ninja from Wutai, is on an important mission to steal the ultimate materia, which is said to be owned by the Shinra Electric Power Company. He has a flexible fighting style because he can attack from close or far distance, depending on your needs. Of all the visual presentations in this game, the most interesting and epic part, in our opinion, is how Square Enix introduces Yuffie in the story. Number 24. Like a Dragon, Infinite Wealth. Infinite Wealth is the 8th iteration of the Yakuza or Like a Dragon game, as well as the second iteration to use the turn-based genre. The turn-based gameplay feels more tactical thanks to more dynamic movements and the proximity damage system. No longer a rigid turn-based game, this time you can freely move your character in a limited circular area. You'll also be presented with a variety of new mini-games that we guarantee you will spend dozens of hours playing. Number 23. Hades. This game was made by Supergiant Games. You play the role of Zagreus, who throughout his life only has one mission and dream, namely to escape from the underworld. Awesome is the right word to describe what Hades managed to achieve in terms of story for a roguelike game. Everything is built on the charming visual quality that has always been firmly attached to Supergiant's games. Number 22. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1+2. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater is a skateboarding-themed game series that became one of the hit titles during the golden age of the first-generation PlayStation. In this game, the game will focus on your process of completing the objectives given at each stage. You are required to slide using your skateboard around in an area filled with certain objects. The movements you can do are quite varied, and you can control them using the direction buttons, which will determine the type of movement you do. Number 21. Demon's Souls. Of the series of game titles that accompanied by the launch of PS5 hardware, Demon's Souls is only the exclusive title that can only be enjoyed on this platform. This game needs more than just something new to attract gamers' interest. One of the fundamental aspects that the developer has overhauled is the arrangement of camera viewpoints. Bluepoint also made some changes to character movement. In particular, the developer has improved the dodge system to be more flexible. Number 20. Persona 3 Reload. Persona 3 Reload does not offer a new storyline compared to what was injected in the original Persona 3 around 16 years ago. For Persona 3 Reload, Atlus clearly learned a lot from what they managed to achieve with the previous Persona 5, which must be acknowledged. By using Unreal Engine 4 as a base, Persona 3 Reload still comes with a youthful and stylish style. Persona 3 Reloads comes with the same turn-based combat system. The key to victory is not achieved by blind attacks but is based on one's strategy and exploiting the enemy's weaknesses. Number 19. Tekken 8. The world of three-dimensional fighting games, Tekken's position as a franchise is special. It is presented as a competitive fighting game that always offers refreshing and strong energy. With Unreal Engine 5 as the basis, the visual improvements offered by Tekken 8 are indeed significant compared to the previous series. Tekken 8 indeed carries the same foundation as the previous series as a three-dimensional fighting game. Tekken 8 can be enjoyed by as many gamers as possible on this earth. Bandai Namco comes with this as a fantastic approach. Number 18. Final Fantasy XIV Endwalker. Endwalker is the latest expansion for Final Fantasy XIV, and let me tell you, it's absolutely insane. Square Enix really knocked it out of the park with this one. The MMO does not shy away from presenting some of the series' darkest themes, but with Endwalker, most of the plot aspects explored so far are completed without any significant loose ends. Endwalker solidifies Final Fantasy XIV's place as one of the top games of the decade. It is emotionally intense, narratively complicated, yet simple to comprehend. and provides some great gameplay with an aggressive progression system. Number 17. Returnal. This game is a third-person shooter game with the adventure roguelike psychological horror genre. In my opinion, the gameplay in this game has a fairly fast tempo. In this game, you will train in attacking, dodging, and positioning yourself in every battle. The boss fight presented here is very satisfying, where our journey to fight the boss is not just about killing and looking for a way, but actually incorporating a deep and good story as well as a character that can blend with your emotions as a player playing the main character, Celine. Number 16. Final Fantasy XVI. Born with its inherent status as a turn-based RPG, over time Final Fantasy's gameplay continued to undergo changes that often generate controversy. Valstia's world in this game does look wide and majestic, but not all visible areas can be approached by Clive. Final Fantasy's identity as a turn-based JRPG has completely disappeared here because the battle system now appears full of action without the need to wait for your turn. If we had to compare, it has similar mechanics to Devil May Cry. Number 15. Uncharted Legacy of Thieves Collection. In my opinion, this game is very unique because this game combines two games, namely Uncharted 4, A Thief's End, and Uncharted The Lost Legacy. I guarantee you will be addicted when playing this game because when you fight the enemies, it is very epic and real. Don't forget the puzzles in this game, so you won't get bored quickly when playing it. The graphics in this game are also very detailed and beautifully done, which in my opinion Naughty Dog has done a very good job this time all around. Number 14. Marvel Spider-Man Remastered. This game is a very extraordinary remastered one. The remastered graphics are very detailed and beautiful, from the reflections of the buildings to the details of the costumes itself. New York City has never looked this good in a game before, and driving through it feels absolutely incredible. The gameplay is also very flexible in terms of movements when fighting enemies. Judging from the way you punch and kick, everything looks fast and cool. This game is also supported by the adaptive trigger and haptic feedback features, which in fact are its main selling points. Number 13. Ghost of Tsushima Director's Cut. Sucker Punch as developer succeeded in adding a new threat and fear for Jin Sakai, namely the existence of the ego. In this game, you will find patterns and mechanisms that are similar but not exactly the same. It seems that the tactical movements in the first game will not be enough to face and defeat the many enemies on Iki Island. And also the improvements in the PS5 console will certainly make the visual experience more exciting, smooth, clear, and sharp as well. Number 12. Horizon Forbidden West. The second game in the Horizon franchise greets lovers of right-aligned graphics. Horizon Forbidden West is available on the PC platform about 2 years after its initial release on PS5. Battles are an integral part of Aloy's adventures. Still the same as Horizon Zero Dawn, Aloy is equipped with two main weapons, namely a bow as a long-range weapon and a spear as a short-range weapon. With an engine that has now been updated even better, the developer has succeeded in presenting a world that is not only large but also charming, complete with various detailed landscapes. Number 11. Alan Wake 2. This game is a sequel to the first Alan Wake. However, the story does not continue straight away, but takes a timeline 13 years later. Northlight Engine's ability to build Remedy Entertainment's newest game with the latest visual presentation quality is no longer in doubt, with voice acting and the acting itself which deserves a thumbs up. Remedy also succeeded in building the required horror atmosphere via the implementation of the existing audio. Number 10. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth continues the story from the ending of Final Fantasy VII Remake, where Cloud and his friends walked out of the city of Midgar. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth uses the gameplay concepts from the previous series as a foundation, and expands them to become much broader. Featuring an action RPG style gameplay system like the previous game, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth also presents many improvements to the battle system. Once again, Square Enix proves that they have a very quality team and music. Number 9. Resident Evil 4. Of all the Resident Evil series, we both have to admit that the 4th series is the most phenomenal. Like Resident Evil games in general, this game provides 3 levels of difficulty at the start of the game, namely Assisted, Standard, and Hardcore. The original Resident Evil 4 was a revolutionary game. It changes the horror perspective of the previous 3 games to more action thanks to the camera angle being changed to behind the character's back. The visual change is clearly very drastic from the original version. Capcom is again using their flagship engine RE engine as the main foundation for rebuilding the visuals of this game. Number 8. Marvel's Spider-Man 2. Marvel's Spider-Man 2 is a sequel series with a timeline 9 months after the first Marvel Spider-Man. With the performance of the PlayStation 5 that they have, Insomniac Games is also placing the right investment to make Marvel's Spider-Man 2 even more beautiful. New York City here is very beautiful, so I won't be surprised if you will just stroll around the city and enjoy all the sceneries that you could see. Marvel's Spider-Man 2 also offers significant improvements for stealth action, which is now well facilitated. Number 7. The Last of Us Part 1. As we all know, The Last of Us Part 1 is a remake game of The Last of Us PS3, which was released in 2013. As a remake game, the main selling point offered by The Last of Us Part 1 of course lies in the visuals, which have been completely overhauled from the original version. However, of all features offered, I fell in love with the 3D audio that we enjoyed with PlayStation's Pulse 3D headset. With detailed sound that now not only supports the atmosphere but also provides details about the position of the clickers and other enemies that you might encounter along the way. Number 6. The Last of Us Part 2. To pay for the disappointment of fans who have been waiting for a long time, Naughty Dog is re-releasing one of its masterpieces, namely The Last of Us Part 2 Remastered for PS5, which contains a variety of new content. Still like its predecessor, you have 2 battle options, namely frontal or stealth. The variety of enemies you will face in this game are much more numerous and smarter than the prequel. The Last of Us 2 Remastered comes with a new game mode that is not in the original version, namely No Return. Number 5. The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. The Witcher 3 story begins with an army invading the continent, destroying everything in its path. In this latest version, there is a choice of new camera modes that make your characters look closer than before. This perspective provides a different experience when playing this game, making it feel more immersive. And you can also capture beautiful moments with photo mode. CDPR has also made several improvements to the game mechanism, one of which is when you launch a magic attack. Number 4. Cyberpunk 2077. This inclusion on the list is a big change for a game that was initially removed from the PlayStation Store due to the poor performance of the PS4 version. But the efforts of developer CD Projekt Red turned Cyberpunk 2077 into a modern and definitive first-person shooter RPG. Firstly, the original version of the PS5 improves radically with technological and visual improvements. Then the 2023 Phantom Liberty DLC brings comprehensive gameplay updates as well as an exciting new storyline. Number 3. God of War Ragnarok. There is no game that has an epic scale that can match God of War. This game made by Santa Monica Studios has been showing big and bombastic spectacles since 2005. One of the new features injected in this game is that you can add elements to the weapon you are holding. The elements above have quite a significant impact on enemies who actually have a weakness for the elements in question. Don't forget, you also have to play the DLC, namely Valhalla. Valhalla is one of the best DLC expansions in recent memory and is still worth checking out. Number 2. Elden Ring. Elden Ring is made by From Software and Bandai Namco, which is uniquely inspired by the fantasy fiction novel by George R.R. Martin. If you are discussing this game, you will already know it yourself, because in terms of gameplay, this game is very cool and good. Elden Ring recently released its DLC entitled Shadow of the Earth Tree. You will start from scratch, but you still have the equipment you have before. The enemy in this DLC are very strong, and so you have to be super careful and focused when defeating them. Number 1. Baldurs Gate 3. You can praise Baldurs Gate 3 tremendously. This game combines so many fantastic RPG elements and mechanics that it is quite difficult to explain in words how high level this game is. Baldurs Gate 3 is a turn-based RPG game. This means that depending on the role you use on your character's status, you will move and attack alternately against enemies in a certain area. In this game, you will meet a boss whose skill or buffs will make you emotional. But you must try this game because in terms of gameplay and graphics, it is just perfect. Well guys, that was our list of the top 70 best PS5 games over the last 5 years. Of course, some of you might not have your games listed down in this list, so we are curious to know in the comment section below. Comment down your favorite games, and I think that's all. With that out of the way, thank you so much for watching this video and have a great day everyone.